£252 million spent in this transfer window, and despite all that cash, Liverpool still has one big issue.
And if I look at Liverpool's team, the spot I think they need help in is centre-back. So, you know, do you go and put everything into Isak?
It's crazy just thinking about it. Liverpool, the club that has been so spot on with transfer deals over the years, and yet they can't seem to understand that they need to strengthen in defence. All the talk so far has been on Isak, and if he joins the club. But anyone who watched the Community Shield defeat to Newcastle knows the truth.
The other, I'm not saying that it is, but if it was one or the other, would you prioritise centre-back rather than Isak?
After yesterday, I'd say centre-half, yeah.
Yesterday was referring to the Community Shield. Top end of the pitch, Liverpool looked amazing. Defence, particularly at centre-back, Liverpool looks suspect. It's very clear now that Liverpool's biggest weakness has to be in central defence. And wait till you see the situation that makes the entire thing critical to Arne Slot's long-term plan for Liverpool to succeed. Safe to say the Carabao Cup wasn't Virgil van Dijk's best game in a Liverpool shirt. Ismail Assar drew the tackle from Van Dijk to win the penalty for Palace's leveller. When they tied the game to 2-2, Van Dijk was at fault again. Miscommunication and a failed offside-line trap that allowed Sarr to get the better of him and score for Palace. It might not be worth reading much into this, but if it's anything, it just shows that the backline isn't quite secure for Liverpool. Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate partnered in defence, Milos Kerkez at left-back and Jeremy Frimpong at right-back. The point is that in that game versus Palace, Arne Slot used what we'd expect to be his first-choice back four for the rest of the season, and they look flat, at least defensively. But the focus now is on the centre-backs because that's where the issue is for Liverpool. We'll get to captain Virgil van Dijk soon, but the pressing issue right now, it's his centre-back partner, Ibrahima Konate. A lot of question marks around Konate's future at Liverpool. For context, his contract at the club expires this summer, and he's reportedly rejected multiple extensions from the club to renew. The immediate situation right now is that Liverpool risks facing the same incident that saw the club lose Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. It's even more interesting considering that, again per reports, the only reason Konate hasn't renewed his contract at the club is because of interest from Real Madrid. The next couple of months regarding this issue could be very interesting. For anyone not connected to Liverpool, losing Konate would be a big blow, but the reality is that it could happen, especially when you think about his current situation. Going by data like this, Konate is one of the lowest earners on the team at £70,000 a week. For context, Virgil van Dijk earns a reported £350,000 a week, $280 more than what Konate is on. Konate has been at the club since 2021. 4 years on, wages like that do not represent how important he has been to the team in recent seasons. Quick one though, if you haven't hit that subscribe button to Football Historia yet, now's a perfect chance. It's down below. But it's not just what could happen to Konate in the next 9 months or so, it's what could happen to him at any time, as we've seen in the past couple of seasons. Ibrahima Konate is unfortunately injury-prone. This is his injury record. Look at the data since he joined Liverpool. From knee to muscle injuries, he's picked up some form of layoff almost every season that's made him miss games. Going by this trend, it is expected to happen this season, and if it does, Liverpool could be in big trouble. If Ibrahima Konate is injury-prone, Joe Gomez is unfortunately worse. As of recording this, he's currently out with an Achilles tendon injury that made him miss the Community Shield match versus Crystal Palace. What this means right now for Liverpool is should Konate get injured, or even Van Dijk, the club would be, at this moment, without an active centre-back duo. The other option would be Reece Williams, who is expected to leave on loan in the coming weeks. I mean, if this happens, it just throws Slot's Liverpool into panic mode. So the big question is, why didn't they do anything about this? Why did they let the situation spiral into what it is now? Well, that's where things get pretty interesting. Turns out it was all part of the plan. Liverpool has been in rebuilding mode under Arne Slot. A couple of names have already left the club in the summer window. Darwin Núñez has left for Al Hilal, Luis Diaz to Bayern Munich, Tyler Morton to Olympique Lyon, Jarrell Kwanzaa to Bayer Leverkusen, and Keahim Kelleher to Brentford, and Trent Alexander-Arnold left earlier to join Real Madrid. The point is, the club has been in a rebuilding phase that follows the way Liverpool goes about transfer business.
Joined us earlier on, and he mentions, yes, the new players, but more have actually left, as in numbers-wise, have actually gone out of the door. So I don't know whether that's a little Bob message to the people above him to say, yeah, we've got great new signings, but we could do with a bit more experience, a few more bodies in just in case, and I think that's what will happen. I think Liverpool will bring in a centre-back and possibly some...
Spot on. It's how Liverpool does business. Arne Slot touched on it too. If they see an opportunity in the market, they take it. The club wanted to get rid of players they didn't see as important first, before moving to actual transfer targets. While Isak might still be a name that's heavy in Liverpool's minds, it's clear now that the club is ready to make big-name signings at centre-back, which brings us to the next question. Who exactly can they sign? The headline name so far is Crystal Palace's FA Cup winning captain.
What do you do with Guehi? Sell him. Crystal Palace FA Cup winners. European football to come. That's very appealing, is it not?
When Liverpool come knocking on your door as a top footballer, you go, the Premier League champions? Yeah. I'll have some of that, thanks very much.
What do you do with Guehi?
Marc Guéhi has been on Liverpool's radar for a while now, and honestly, this one makes sense. While he wouldn't be a Virgil van Dijk-like replacement, at least not yet, Guehi would be a good fit for this Liverpool team. To start with, he's fit. Taking data into his last 4 seasons of Premier League football, Marc Guéhi has hit 40 or more appearances in 3 of those 4 seasons. Now, this is huge considering that Liverpool tend to play a lot more games than the average English football team, due to how well they compete in other competitions. For context, they played 63 out of a possible 63 games in the 2021-22 season. Having a defender like Marc Guéhi, whose injury record looks relatively good, would be a big option for rotational purposes. Guehi only missed 13 games in the 2023-24 season, and in that 4-season period has featured 155 times. When he plays, he's just a solid 2. Guehi ranks in the 97th percentile in the league for passes blocked. This is huge considering how Liverpool like to play. With the pressing system that Arne Slot uses, he needs his centre-backs to be able to read the game and get in the way of attacks from the opposition. His total of 0.47 chances created per 90, which ranks him in the top 13% for defenders, as well as his 0.35 successful dribble rate per 90, which ranks him in the top 24% for centre-backs, and an 85.7% dribble success rate that ranks him in the top 20%. All of this indicates something. Guehi isn't just a rock-solid defender, he's the modern type too. This is where the similarities appear between him and Van Dijk, even though they're minor. Guehi isn't just comfortable on the ball, he's comfortable with bringing the ball out of defense and can create opportunities for his teammates in the process. Add this to how he wins the ball. He won 4.94 joules per 90 last season, which placed him in the top 22% of centre-backs in the league for balls won. His 4.27 recoveries per 90 placed him in the top 26% of centre-backs for recoveries. This also means that Guehi has the recovery pace to chase down attackers when the team is defending. Guehi seems like the ideal fit for Liverpool. The only issue with him and the package is how he struggles a bit in terms of height compared to Liverpool's centre-backs. He's just under 6 feet and won just 44.8% of his aerial duels last season. But then again, it's all dependent on his role and who is alongside him. Per multiple reports as of recording this, Liverpool has advanced in the deal to sign Guehi. Personal terms have already been agreed, according to guys like Fabrizio Romano. This just backs up the point that Liverpool was following a plan in the transfer market and just needed a couple of things cleared before they could proceed. It's not just Guehi the club is actively pursuing in defense. There's another name who could very well prove to be an underrated gem. Giovanni Leoni, the 18-year-old from Parma, is another name Liverpool is actively keeping tabs on. They've got big reasons to. Leoni is one of the most highly rated centre-backs in Italian football, and judging by his metrics, he'll be a good fit for this Liverpool team for years to come. He won 63% of his aerial duels in Serie A last season and had a very high block rate, ranking in the 84th percentile. He's like the new breed of centre-backs who prefer interception positioning to aggressive tackling. But Leoni's biggest strength is when he's on the ball. It's not exactly line-breaking passes, but there's a safety with his passing development. Leoni recorded an 88.7% passing rate last season, attempting 43.5 passes per 90. He rarely loses the ball. Gaining the confidence to attempt line-breaking passes is something that will come with experience and learning from players in his position should he make the move. Physically, he's built for the role, built for the Premier League. At 6'5", he's going to evolve into a very useful aerial solution. He averaged 1.27 aerial duels per 90 and recorded a 63% success rate. In that Liverpool team, he could immediately solve the problem of conceding from set pieces, as they did throughout the entirety of pre-season. Then you look at him long-term. At just 18, he's already recorded over 1,100 minutes in Serie A. That's impressive for a kid his age. Learning under a player like Van Dijk for a year or two will help his development. You'd expect Arne Slot to rotate him in cup matches and games with lesser significance to the team. The point is, should the Reds get him over the line, Leoni would be an excellent signing for the future. He's composed and mature even for his age. This would be a case of Liverpool opting to buy potential, which would make sense given that the club would have two options. They'll be going for the experience of Guehi and the potential of Leoni. Another name that's been linked to Liverpool in recent weeks is Brentford's Nathaniel Collins. Although this one seems unlikely, it would again make sense if it did happen. Nathaniel Collins has been a big part of Brentford's success last season. He averaged 3.1 aerial duels per 90 and 5.8 clearances per game. Nothing flashy or over the top. He was an important part of a decent team, and while he might not necessarily come to Liverpool and become a starter, adding an option like Collins to the team would increase the squad depth. This position isn't new to Liverpool. It's the reason why the club was always going to sign new centre-backs this summer.
Jurgen Klopp has confirmed they will try to sign a defender before the 11 p.m. deadline on Monday night, but he knows it might prove difficult. Joel Matip was the latest Liverpool defender to suffer an injury.
Everyone remembers the freak show of 2021. Virgil van Dijk tore his ACL against Everton, and Joe Matip and Joe Gomez couldn't stay fit. Liverpool had to use makeshift options in defence like Jordan Henderson and Fabinho deputising in the role. The January signings of Ozan Kabak and Nathaniel Phillips eventually turned out to be panic buys, as neither's at the club now. The point is, Arne Slot and Liverpool know they can't afford to find themselves in that position again. It looked like it this summer in pre-season, when the likes of Ryan Gravenberch, Wataru Endo, and even Curtis Jones played makeshift roles at centre-back. It could have easily caused panic alarms. But seeing the active steps in the market for centre-backs now is a clear indicator that Liverpool aren't just chasing solutions, they're chasing long-term players too. Going into the league season with just 3 proven centre-backs is a big risk they're not prepared to take, especially when Slot realises teams like Arsenal are moving mental in the transfer market with crazy new signings. However, it's the combination of a new signing and an existing one that could become the key to Arsenal finally winning the league this season. Click the next video to see the Bukayo Saka and Victor Gyökeres problem the Premier League now has.